A is in the books. That means that it is time for another daily G1 CLIMAX 33 recap right here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel podcast. Hello, I'm Mr. Warren Hayes, and boy, we got thrown a couple of curveballs, didn't we? Interesting night of action, to say the least, that we're going to break down in my ongoing coverage. And it's been a couple of days. When was the last time we were here together hanging out? And it feels like it was like last January. But no, it's been a couple of days. We're officially entering the final stretch of the tournament. First night of block action done. We're going to be punching out the blocks moving forward, and then we're going to get into the playoffs. So this is so we're going to switch up a little bit. We're going to switch up the format a little bit here. We're not going to talk as much about scenarios and whatnot. We're going to start talking about playoff scenarios from this point moving forward. And it's already getting interesting. But look, hey, leave a like, subscription if you're watching this on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, 5-star rating on Spotify. Anything you can do to show a little modicum of support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, that would be fantastic. So a more traditional night of G1 action, but we're going to focus specifically on the blocks because there was an undercard where guys from the rest of the tour are competing in multi-man matches. We're going to skip over that just for keeping things condensed and neat and tidy and focusing on what we really want to focus on. We're at the Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. And Osaka delivered with another big shocker here. This is what went down. We had Yota Tsuji defeating Gabe Kidd. We had Ren Narita defeating Kaito Kiyomiya. SANADA defeating Chase Owens. And Hikuleo defeating, he didn't defend anything in that regard, defeating Shota Umino. Let's break down the matches a little bit. The first block match we had and this all happened on August 5th. I didn't even mention the date. I'm all over the place. I'm flabbergasted. We had Yota Tsuji defending. Why am I in the defense mode? Am I feeling defensive? Do I have to defend myself against something? Defeated Gabriel Kidd, who attacks before the bell. But it turns out that the Yota Tsuji that came out was not the Yota Tsuji. And no, this is not like a decoy thing when when TMDK, do it with Kosei Fujita, excuse me. It's not that type of situation where, it's like, oh, he's dressed up. No, they have a guy who looks identical to Yota Tsuji. Because Yota Tsuji comes from behind as Gabriel Kidd is beating the tar out of fake Yota. Real Yota shows up and he beats the hell out of Gabe Kidd. And it turns out that Yota Tsuji has a legitimate identical twin, or a shoot identical twin. There are two gene blasts out there running around, and they have the same build. This is what's wild. Like, I skip back a little bit, and maybe getting thrown around and whatnot. You'd really have to have like them doing a pose down or whatnot, but they have the same physique. It's wild. Like you really can't tell both of these dudes apart at first glance. That was a twist. I'll tell you that. Good for Yota getting his brother a payday. But the real Yota does all the typical Yota Tsuji things. He does his dive early onto the floor. Gabriel Kidd with the suplex as well on the floor. Even scoop slams the decoy, the twin, onto Yota Tsuji as well. There's some strikes and a belly-to-belly overhead, and they just pummel each other in this match. They just beat the tar out of each other to the point that Tsuji's like, my hair is in the way, and he asked one of the young lions, I think it was not, I can't remember which one. He asked him for a hair tie. Then there's more strikes and punches. I'm just having a great time. I'm sitting there. I have the biggest grin on my face. I love pro wrestling. Brainbuster by Gabriel Kidd. Gut wrench slam by Tsuji and a moonsault. Gabriel Kidd takes him inside out with a lariat, and they palm strike each other into oblivion, and the crowd is into it. I'm into it. Headbutt by Tsuji. Then hits the spear and the win. This fucking ruled. This absolutely ruled. This is one of my favorite matches of the tournament. And you know, I'm thinking this is what I'm planning right now for the finals on August 13th. I'm probably going to do a more of an extensive wrap up, on favorites and and MVPs and all the usual stuff. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to save some thoughts for that show specifically, because we're just going to be talking about one match. So it's a good time to do a little post-mortem of the tournament. But if there's one thing that I am completely that I am completely enamored with, it's Gabe Kidd's performance during this tournament. Maybe he doesn't have the points to show it, but he had a great tournament, and he's up here with Yota Tsuji. And I'm looking at this, and there's a lot of this tournament that has to do with setting things up for the future, for the next 3 years. Well, not for the next 3 years, but let's say in 3 years. These are going to be the people that New Japan is going to depend on. Yes, the Reiwa 3. But what about a guy like Gabe Kidd, who, I think proved his worth for this company during this tournament? Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. This stuff I wanted to talk about. But my point being is that if we're in a situation where we're seeing, first time historical matches, that we're seeing things being laid, we're laying the foundations for the future. Hey, I am completely in, 100% all in on a Gabe Kidd Yota Tsuji rivalry that just transcends years upon years in New Japan. I think these guys work well together. I think they bring the aggression out of each other. That's the fire, that Gabriel Kidd spite. I think he got it. I think Tsuji was able to bring it even more so out of him, and Tsuji was alive here as well. This match fucking ruled. And I think there's really a foundation here between these two guys to have a proper, just a good old-fashioned puro rivalry. I'm excited. This felt good. Then we had Ren Narita defeating Kaito Kiyomiya in what was unquestionably Ren Narita's best match of the tournament, where they're grappling to start, and Kiyomiya switches on, dragon screws and whatnot, and basically what he does, Kiyomiya here, he's trying to break out of the control holes that Ren Narita is attempting to slap on, and he's countering by working Narita's knee. And even when Kiyomiya tries to get out with a German suplex, Ren Narita's not letting go. Narita avoids a suplex, cinches in a Cobra twist. He goes for a German with bridge. Kaito Kiyomiya dragon screw, a leg whip, and continues working the leg into a figure four. This is the second figure four of the match at this point. Great exchange of strikes and kicks follow. A tiger suplex by Kiyomiya plus a tiger driver. But Ren Narita stays alive. And at the 15-minute mark, he avoids a Shining Wizard, counters it into a German, actually, for the win. Big surprise win. Fantastic match. And Kiyomiya's G1 dream ends today. All us dopes trying to figure out ways to get Kiyomiya to fight Okada. If you will recall, when I was doing my preview of this, I didn't necessarily see a logical, clear path for Kiyomiya to get to Okada in the G1. I still think the Okada Kiyomiya dream is still alive, because as I even posited, I was like, does this have to happen in the G1? Because if you want to do Okada Kiyomiya 2, that's an instant dome match. That's something you can do that you can do for Wrestle Kingdom instantly, and will get attention. It'll get people excited. Like, that's an instant thing you do here. But it's it's nonetheless, nonetheless we have our boy here, Kaito, who finishes with 6 points nonetheless, but unable to qualify. When I saw that this was the second match from the top, I was like, oh, he's losing, isn't he? He's losing because, as we had pointed out last time, Shota and Narita, there is a clear, there's one guy who comes out of there with 8 points. Yes, there's always the possibility of a draw, but the draw got into a wackadoo situation. And here's another thing. I got proof again. You can come up with all the wackadoo situations you want to try and figure out, oh, well, there's this path here. And I know it's fun, but ultimately, Gaito keeps it simple. He's a Occam's razor kind of guy, and he doesn't get into the convoluted situations, because there could have been a possibility for a 3-way tie here, right? A 4-way tie. What am I talking about? 6-way, right? Yeah, exactly. You could have had Narita and Kiyomiya go time. You could have had Shota and Hikuleo go time and have Yota win, and then you have 6 guys, I should say, with 7 points. With Hikuleo, but it's never been that complicated. He keeps it simple, and then we move on, kind of thing. So, when Kiyomiya came out second, I was like, well, I guess he's not moving on. And then I said to myself naively, I guess that means Shota's winning, and he's moving for it. Oh boy, was I in for a surprise. If there's anything that that we can take away from this here, is that he's I think because look, Kevin Kelly, I think it was Kevin Kelly, one of the two guys on commentary, either Kevin or Chris, said something to the effect of, Kiyomiya, wasn't able to move forward despite all the experience he has, all the experience he had over all the new guys in the block. I take this, I'll look at it this way. I think each of the Reiwa 3 are better off having fought the guy. I'm not saying he's this grandmaster, but he does have a substantial amount of experience that he that usually that translates into better ring awareness, all the little details, all the things that you really look for in an event. Again, he's still very young, but he's been in main event spots. He's been in high pressure situations, and he's handled them fantastically. So I think, nonetheless, all 3 of the Reiwa Musketeers here benefited in some way of fighting Kiyomiya. Even if despite the results, I think they were all good matches. Kiyomiya had a very good G1, probably one of the best of the bunch here. Let me see if I pull out my stuff here. I'm sure I rated him pretty high overall. Yeah, he's my highest rated. As far as his matches go, he's the highest rated of the block. So he had quality matches here. Just excellent stuff. So, And already I've seen a bunch of people complain about how New Japan booked, the Noah guy. Oh, of course they booked the Noah guy to lose. Oh, of course, there's a lot of this onus that goes on to Noah as well, because these types of things are negotiations, right? It's politics. So if Noah is letting New Japan book him this way, I mean, if you have to be mad at someone, be mad at Noah if you're angry because they let your guy be booked like this. If you're mad that Kiyomiya is not going forward and you're going and you're blaming New Japan, I think your anger is misdirected. Talk to the boys' management. They're to blame in this situation. No one else. So that sort of sealed the fate here. We'll talk about Kaito Kiyomiya maybe in a while. He's still going to be on the tour. I cannot but think that this is still an indication. I think it's even more so an indication that he might be, that he still might be, that there might still be an opening for him in New Japan. We're going to save these for later. Let's move on. We're going to keep talking blocks here, but a bit of a surprise victory here. Interesting situation. Next. What was next? Oh, yeah. We had SANADA versus Chase Owens. I thought this match was boring as hell. I thought this match was dull as dirt. Chase Owens did shenanigans with the Paradise Lock and long-term storytelling. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? I thought this match was boring. SANADA came out to crickets. Nothing. He got nothing from the Osaka crowd. Osaka knows they're not being duped. But he sweeps the block despite getting no reactions. 14 points for SANADA. 7-0-0. Perfect record. I think first time since 2005 was what Chris Charlton told us. It was Fujita the last time someone swept an 8-man block. Good for him. No surprise. Not for me anyway. That Gato was going to try and position him as strong as possible here. SANADA sweeping the block is, no shock at all. And then the main event, Hikuleo defeated Shota Umino. Now, look, I have to take the L here. I had soft eliminated Hikuleo down the road, but can you blame me? I had soft eliminated Hikuleo early on. You cannot blame me because with the amount of hype that the Three Musketeers were getting, with Kaito Kiyomiya, the outsider, former GHC champion in the block, I was like, there's no way he's moving forward. This is the night off guy. Look, I am owning up to everything I said, but I think all my analysis made sense right up until this point. And now he's moving on. He's the guy who qualifies to move on to the runner side of the runner up side of the brackets. I don't know what to tell you. I will say Hikuleo has had a little more spark, a little more pep in his step over over his past couple of matches. Of course, he's been winning. You'll tell me, sure. And I don't think he's suddenly turning into this force of nature. There's a lot of stuff that irks me about Hikuleo for the type of guy that he is, for a 6'9" beast. He's very complacent. Yet, he still struggles with crowd connection and energy. He's tall, yeah. It'll only take you so far. You know, Lance Archer is a monster I like to see. For instance, he's a guy who comes in and just wrecks shit up, and he plays to the crowd, and he has a connection with it. Hikuleo is still very fucking bland, but I understand what's going on here. And as I take my L and talk about, you know, how you couldn't blame me because of all the hype around the other guys in the block, the other younger guys, I should have seen this coming, because this is Gaito booking, just throwing us the ultimate swerve. You're like, yeah, we're hyping 4 dudes in this block, plus on top of that, our world champion is in here. So there's 5 guys here that are captivating all the attention. And then you get Hikuleo, who sneaks in from behind to get that. Like, this is classic. This is classic Gaito screwing around with us. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm surprised, and it kept, you know, I like to be kept on my toes. Look, I've said this multiple times, you know, you sit here, you prognosticate, you plan, you try to come up with it. I want to be surprised ultimately at the end of the day. I just want to be shocked. I want to feel stuff. Pro wrestling should be able to do that. I don't want to be swerved every week, don't get me wrong. But I like me a good surprise. I like being wrong. Just like I thought this match wouldn't be all that great. But you know what? I like this match a lot. I thought it was very good. And Shota Umino is another guy in this tournament who's found his footing. I think something clicked in Umino's brain. And I've even been mentioning this, you know, in the build up to the G1, where doing matches with Moxley, you know, the tag matches and the multi-man matches that he was doing with Moxley and the others, you could already see that there was something else going on, that a spark had been ignited, that something had lit up in his mind, and he's taken more control of his presentation, of his in-ring, of everything that he does. As down and as much as I had discounted Shota Umino at the beginning of the year, he's rallied, he's come back, and he is much more of a complete product now, a complete pro wrestler than in March of this year. So, you know, a lot of people will attribute it to the G1, and I think the G1 did help that. I'm going to go a little earlier than that. I'm going to say like a couple of, you know, Forbidden Door, the one match where Moxley flew in, I think it wasn't at Dominion, it was at Dominion, where I'm, you know, starting to look at Shota and you're like, okay, something's happening here. Something's happening. I still think he needs a little work. You know, commentary putting over his great crowd connection and you know, making comparisons with Tanahashi. Tanahashi's crowd connection is unique, it's special, and he's much better at it. You know, Shota's still a little stiff when he's slapping hands in the crowd and waving his glow sticks around. It's a little, you know, it's a little contrived yet. But this match I thought was really good, and I think it was a great big man match. And it was built to give us the impression that Shota Umino was going to have the big comeback win, that he was going to pull it out, that he was just going to overcome because he's the next ace. It's just good stuff. It was good stuff. And, you know, Hikuleo using his power moves smartly, at good moments. You know, avoiding the Death Rider with a power slam was really good. Shota Umino, you know, he hits a German suplex. There was that great power bomb by Hikuleo as well. Look, this rocked. I think the only mishap here is that towards the end, Shota's trying to do a move, you know, he's trying to lock him up for a pin like La Magistral or something, and it whiffs. Like they try to do something and it's Umino that ends up on his shoulders. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the intended effect, but Hikuleo wins with a chokeslam. So absolutely wild ending to the wildest block. Look, if there's anything that I've been consistent on is about Block A, in my analysis in Block A, is like this was going to be the most interesting block, and it was to the very last minute of action in this tournament. It was the most interesting block, and it absolutely goes under the entire theme of New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 CLIMAX 33 this year, which is unpredictability. Because no one saw this coming. Like, none of the Reiwa 3 moving forward. Kaito Kiyomiya not moving forward. Hikuleo. We're being honest with each other. How many people had Hikuleo going into this? Not much, not many. I don't want to say no one. I don't want to do a sweeping statement, but you are in a minority percentage. I'm thinking 1% of New Japan fans pulled that out. And I think it goes even lower when it's people who did it seriously and didn't do it just for a meme. Just didn't do it for the jokes. So Block A finished. SANADA 14 points. Hikuleo at 8. They are moving on to the standings. They are moving on not just to the standings, but to the playoffs. Why am I choking on this? SANADA will be fighting the runner-up of Block C. Block C, of course, is made up is the ass kicker block: Finley, Ishii, Evil, Tamatanga, Shingo, Henare, Kingston, and Mikey Nichols. As it stands right now, we've got 3 guys with 8 points, and we have 3 guys with 8 points. And on the final night, David Finley and Eddie Kingston are fighting. So one of these guys is moving forward. There's still a plan for Shingo to happen. Like, Block C right now is still very wild. So, I mean, I'm looking at this because you can absolutely make a case for David Finley winning over Eddie Kingston, and then Shingo beating Evil, right? Because he's fighting Evil, isn't he? Let me just make sure I'm not saying... Yeah, he is fighting Evil. So there is absolutely a possibility that Shingo runs up the block and ends up fighting his former LIJ member, you know, and everyone is thinking about, oh, well, who could be, you know, SANADA might get pinned during the tournament, and we might have that turn into a title match on the way to Wrestle Kingdom. Well, I'm like, well, there you go. You know, Shingo would be a perfect opponent, a good, strong, classic opponent who won't be hurt if he loses and will help SANADA look good. Or if you wanted to take the belt off of SANADA into someone who's credible. Basically, what I'm saying here is that I feel like if Shingo ends up being the runner-up for Block C, I don't think SANADA's moving forward. How about that? How about that for a prediction? Hikuleo will be facing, I should say, the winner of Block D, which will probably be between Tetsuya Naito, for being completely transparent with each other. And why not? Why give Naito, babyface, always struggling, underdog Naito, have him face a giant. Have him have to go through a younger, faster, huger guy. That's where I think we're going with this. So those are the that's what we're heading for right now. The next time we speak, recommendations. How about we do some recommendations? Yeah, I think this was a pretty good. I think this was look. Right now, there's only 4 matches you have to watch, so it's like 90 minutes of your time tops. That really, so there's if you wanted to sit down and watch all 4, you could. You can absolutely. In fact, I encourage you to skip SANADA versus Chase Owens. But Yota, Tsuji, and Gabriel Kidd, absolute recommendation. Red Narita versus Kaito Kiyomiya, absolute recommendation. Shota, Umino, and Hikuleo was very good as well. Don't get me wrong. It's a great match, which you can throw in there if you want to see it. If you want to see, look, why don't you go ahead and see how Hikuleo wins this? There, let's make it an official recommendation. I'll recommend 3 out of the 4. Like I said, you could probably watch the whole thing if you really wanted to, but SANADA and Chase Owens is, it's not good. It's not good. It's kind of boring. Not even kinda. It is absolutely boring. So the next time we see each other, it's going to be tomorrow, August 5th. We are going to be at the Osaka Prefectural Gym. Well, 80 and again, basically. In Osaka, and we have the match order here. So this is interesting because the match orders are going to be significant in how things are going to play out. Let's pull up block B here on screen for those of us with the benefit of video, either on YouTube or on Spotify. The opening match is Yoshihashi versus Kenta. There's really only one match that counts here for the tournament. Yoshihashi and Kenta is the opening salvo for B block. Both of these guys are eliminated. Taichi versus Great Okan after. Both these guys are eliminated. I know people are holding out hope for Taichi, and they have another wackadoo situation for him, but it's not going to work out. Okada versus Tangaloa. The only thing. The only interesting bit that can come out of Kazuchika Okada versus Tangaloa is whether or not Okada wins the block or whether he wins the block or is the runner-up. But because he's qualified. He's qualified at this point. And that will be entirely dependent on El Phantasmo versus Will Ospreay. If Okada loses to... If El Phantasmo wins, Okada's winning the block. If Will Ospreay wins and Okada loses to Tangaloa, Okada is runner-up, Will Ospreay wins the block. But I think Phantasmo is winning this. I think Phantasmo is going to tie Will Ospreay at 8. He'll have the tiebreaker and he'll move on. And that's going to be your big shocker. And that's going to continue adding fuel to the fire that Will is on his way out. Because think about it. The win over Okada was something that Will was probably promised, that he was supposed to get his win, got it done in the G1. I mean, this is feeling more and more like Will's swan song. He's putting guys over. He's going to put Phantasmo over to try and help him move into the position as the big babyface gaijin. It's more and more... We're feeling more and more like Ospreay's on his way out. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow, my prediction is that Okada wins the block. Phantasmo is the runner-up. I think that's something that makes sense. Because then if you start looking at positionings, then that would put Phantasmo over on Naito's side, or Hikuleo's side, I should say, right now. and Okada over on SANADA's side. Like if SANADA were to win his quarterfinal, and Okada would too, then in the semifinals you have SANADA versus Okada, which is, I guess it's a big time match. It'll be a rematch from when Okada lost the belt. So, we'll have to keep an eye on all of this. We'll keep delving deeper into it moving forward, but I find it more and more difficult to do any kind of prediction just after today, I'm very weary moving forward. But we're going to be back tomorrow to wrap up Block B and continue in our final stretch of the G1 CLIMAX 33 recap and review shows. I hope you guys are enjoying them. If you have the time and you want to catch up, look, all my reviews are available on a playlist on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, or they're also easily available in podcast format as well on strictly audio. It's all available there as well. So that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I will also be back tomorrow for my Collision review, which AEW Collision review, which of course is happening later on tonight with the big CM Punk Ricky Starks main event. So listen, wherever you decide to come back and hang out, I'll see you next time.